The Scrubber Wash Bag is a mobile laundry tool designed by patent lawyer Ashley Newland. It's had a great media reception, and now, after a successful launch, Ashley's ready to ramp things up and get the business ready for investment. To make sure he's ticking all the right boxes from an investor's perspective, business development specialist Rob Hartnett dropped by to share his advice.
So Ash, tell me about Scrubber.
Well, the Scrubber Wash Bag has been touted by the international media as the world's smallest or lightest washing machine in the world. And really what it enables is you to wash your clothes anywhere, anytime for free. So we find it's really popular amongst general travellers, campers, hikers, adventure travellers.
How did you come up with the idea for Scrubber?
Well, I was taking a break from my work as a patent attorney some years ago, and we were going to be travelling to Africa and climb Mount Kilimanjaro and travel around quite a few countries. And with all the gear that we had, we realised that we'd only have a couple of changes of casual clothes, which means washing every day or 2 days in some really remote parts of Africa. So really the light bulb moment for me was when I realised that if I could create a highly flexible washboard and put it in a sealable waterproof bag, then I could change the way that people do their laundry while travelling.
So now you've commercialised, you tested it on the trip you did. You also started to use the power of sort of social media, which is kind of probably low cost but kind of a high touch in the early days.
Well, I guess what really kicked off the project was crowdfunding.
What's interesting with crowdfunding, when people think about that, they think about the funding side. Whereas you used it for both. You used it for actually getting a crowd, and you also used it for funding as well.
I guess it was never as much about the money as getting people's feedback. And what I've also learnt from crowdfunding is they're going to be some of your best customers moving forward. They tend to be the early adopters of new technology. Yeah. They're willing to take the risks, and they also take a sense of ownership in your project as well.
So Ash, it's going well. It's all launched. You've got distributors around the world. What are some of the challenges you're facing at this point?
At this point, one of our challenges right now, because we've taken on a few key distributors all at once, is just maintaining stock levels. So it's, at the moment, a little bit of a balancing act between ensuring that we can maintain the supply and quality to the distributors that we've taken on.
So controlled growth, would that be the sum it up?
Yeah, definitely.
What sort of communication do you have with your distributors in terms of forecasting and them letting you know when orders are coming through in peak times? How are you managing all of the sales data from them?
We do request quarterly forecasts. To date, we haven't really received many of them. We've been lucky to have enough stock on hand, but that's, I think, something that we do need to get on top of ourselves.
After the break, Rob's advice for getting investor ready. Ashley Newland is right on track to ramp up distribution of his new product, but needs to fine-tune things to get the business ready for investment. Let's get Rob Hartnett's advice.
One of the things you've done is you've gone with the smaller distributors who are more passionate. They're in the market, they get it, and that's great. Part of the problem with those guys is they may not have the systems themselves. They may be as mature as you are in this area, and you may need to help each other along the way. The thing you don't want to have happen now is a major order coming through, which is exciting overnight. But if it's one you know you can't deliver, for someone like you, that's going to be painful. You're going to feel, how am I going to do that? And it'd be quite panicky. So I would now start to work up some more transparent forecasting, what they're holding, what's selling through, customer data they're starting to get, and their seasonality as well, just for you, because you're now starting to consolidate that information, which is going to help you in terms of your manufacturing costs and your peaks and troughs back in the business, and be able to shift stock from different regions around the world, which is one of the beauties of being global. So Ash, what's the next step for Scrubber?
To try and build the revenue for another 2 to 3 years, and at that point I think I would have taken it to a level where it'll almost be the ceiling of where I can take it to without some big bucks coming in. At that point, I think the company would be fairly well placed to become an acquisition target by one of these multinational companies. Right from the get-go, one of the main reasons for developing all the intellectual property that we have, so the patents, designs and trademarks, is to actually have some assets there that we can pass on and sell.
Well, one of the things you have to think about is who that likely buyer would be, what's their makeup, and just getting into their these shoes, about what would they be looking for? You know, things like, you know, you've got a great database, you've got a great presence on social media, you've got great brand that you've got out there, and you've got distributors, you know, in a number of countries and regions already. So that's a good thing to start off with. Things to think about though, what would the sale price look like? Like what would be a right price for you? There's sale price and then there's payment terms. So what would you like? Would you like stock for that, or would you like it in cash? Or would you like a combination? So thinking through those kind of things in your mind and others who are connected with you are really important. And then it's about the marketing of it. So just as you've got your marketing going on really nicely for the scrubber customers you've got out there, this is about now marketing towards your next customer, which is your ultimate buyer. So it's exactly the same format. You're now just switching it into what I call a business-to-business sale as opposed to business-to-consumer. It's now B2B. But it'll put you in a really nice position to start working through where you'd like it to go and for how much you'd like it to go for, and your role. And you may even have a role going forward. It might be one that's on an advisory board or something like that. So it's there, but you're not full-time in it, but you do have some connection. So I'd be thinking about the kind of people they are and just strategically what that would look like in terms of an exit strategy.
Thank you very much for some very helpful advice. Yeah.